Welcome to Leadership in the Line of Fire with your host, Brad Howe. Join Brad as he dives into the heat of leadership challenges, where the flames of business uncertainty meet the hard-earned lessons of firefighting. Embrace change, master agility, and become the trusted leader guiding your team through the smoke. Get ready to ignite your leadership journey.
In the heart of roaring flames and thick smoke, clear communication isn't just essential, it's life-saving. Let's dive into the latest episode of Leadership in the Line of Fire, where I'm going to unravel the art and precision of fireground commanders as they convey vital strategies amidst chaos. But how does this relate to the backroom of a business? Whether you're navigating a startup's early days or guiding a corporate giant, this episode holds the secrets to ensuring your message isn't lost in the smoke and confusion of rapid change. Bringing clarity amidst the flames, the essence of fireground communication. Imagine the scene, towering flames, roaring heat, and the omnipresent threat that each moment could escalate into danger. In such intense situations, the fireground becomes a dynamic theatre of rapid decisions, immediate actions, and above all, trying for clear communication. At the heart of this chaos is an officer or crew leader whose words can mean the difference between control and confusion. As they navigate this mix, they demonstrate the pinnacle of communication under pressure. But what can this teach us about leadership beyond the blaze? Firstly, there's a lot of complexities at a fire scene, and there is a real critical role that communication plays. When you first arrive at a fire, the situation is very fluid until you gather some intel. When you first get there, poor communications happen all the time. There's distance, smoke, lack of signals, crews turning up, all sorts of things are happening at once. And so trying to keep clear communications is absolutely essential. We have problems like we have briefings that are too short. Sometimes we have no maps. Things change very quickly, and no one can be actually sure how big the fire is when we first arrive. You often just turn up to get a quick tasking on what you need to start on while everybody else is putting the pieces together, and everything falls into place over time as more information flows back from the crews on the ground. So the initial attack on a fire can be quite messy. So communication during this time is absolutely essential. In our case, clear communication can mean the difference between safety and danger on the fireground. Obviously, communication is important. Okay. Recently we were on a fire and the fire came up on us very quickly. Now we had very little radio communication. Luckily, we had truck-to-truck communication where I would pass the message on. But the last crew on the fireground actually wasn't on the channel we were on, and they were separated off on their own. So we had to physically go down and tell them they needed to leave the fireground to make sure that they could get off the ground safely before the fire front hit. And it just reinforced that having radios and being able to talk and communicate is so important to making a fire a safe place to work and to successfully controlling and containing a fire. Bad communications on the fireground means increased danger, more uncertainty, and a greater chance of the fire escaping without anyone knowing. So let me just impress on you how much we do rely on our communication skills. Sometimes we're separated off on our own and we use a little acronym called LACES, so we take care of our own lives. So that's lookouts, awareness, communications, escape routes, and safety. And that is what we use within the crew and within the sectors to try and share information to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. It doesn't always work perfectly, but we do our best. When there's no comms available, the crew leader on a particular truck must make decisions to pull out if things get dangerous. When we're on the fireground, every member of the crew is tasked with feeding back changes, strategies, things that they're seeing, all that information, and then that crew leader of that truck feeds that back to the sector commander or the incident controller. So we're trying to keep this communication gate running all the time, so the information's flowing back and forth as much as possible, allowing people to make good decisions. Just like in a business, the more you know about what's going on, the more you can do to fix problems or prepare for whatever's happening down the road. Crews on the ground, in our case, must also ask for what they need and not just wait for someone to know. If they need help or they're uncertain or they need advice, they can call on the radio and get help where it's possible. So communication works both ways, up, down, and then amongst us as we're moving around the fire. Once on an incident and it's been running for a little time, we start using a thing called a SMEAC. And a SMEAC is a briefing document which stands for Situation, Mission, Execution, Admin, Comms, and Safety. And this is laid out and the information's filled in each of those fields so that when new crews arrive, they are given a SMEAC so they understand what the situation is on the ground, what the mission is, what we're trying to achieve within a certain time frame, how we're going to do it, all the admin information, what channels they'll be talking on, so the comms channels, and also where the safety and escape points are. We're constantly building that information back from the crews on the ground and from planning to make sure that we're knowing what we're going to do next. This puts everybody on the same page and gives them goals and all the basic information that they need to hopefully stay safe on the fireground. One of the things that's really important as a firefighter is the chain of command, because the chain of command allows us to spread the message most effectively. Incident controls call sector leaders pass it on to crew leaders pass it on to the crews, and obviously the reverse as the information comes back. So chain of command is really, really important because not only does it allow us to move information, it allows us to move information effectively. By coming from 3 on a crew or more down to 1 as the crew leader and then moving up to the sector commander, again 1, and moving up to the IC as 1, we're now cutting down on the number of people chatting on specific channels. And by doing that, it means the information is more clear because the crews would not be talking on the same channel as a sector commander would be talking back to IC on. We work on 2 different channels to try and keep communication as clear as possible. Now, nothing works perfectly. We just have to do the best we can to achieve our goals. Just like in a business, things go wrong very quickly, but we do our best to take control of the situation and communicate those changes back up the line of command. There's always issues caused by communication. Every fire you go to is different, but we do our best, we learn from our mistakes, and we get ready for the next call. We also need to make sure that through communication, we get clear feedback and progress reports on what's happening on the fire and what our needs are. And we do this multiple ways. Obviously, we have our radios, but we also can send photos via SMS or Messenger. We have FireMapper for recording information sometimes. We have our maps as well, where we can mark things on a map, take a photo and send it back. We can ring on the phone. Really anything we need to do to pass information. Obviously, when we're in an area where communications are poor, such as we don't have phone connection or internet connection, which is a lot of areas once you move out of the city, things become much more difficult. I was recently on a fire that had a division that we were working on with 5 trucks and it was 38 kilometers around. And we had only direct to truck communication. So once we were more than a couple of Ks apart, we couldn't talk to each other. This made it extremely difficult until we got a comms tower brought in. Clear communication is about getting regular feedback from crews, what their needs are, how they're going, what's happening on the fireground. We need to find out where they are in relation to the map. So sometimes it's about asking them, how far are you along this line? How much further have you got to go? Sometimes we can drive around and have a chat, but that's not always an option, given that if you're running a sector and you've got crews working underneath you, that you can't leave where you are because of the job in hand. So the radio is the best form of communication. Once we get through a fire, debriefing is absolutely essential. It's sometimes painful. It's not always a lot of fun, but it does give us a chance to learn from our wins and our mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? No one communicates perfectly. So from both sides, we have to understand that and we have to accept that and we have to do our best to work better next time. We need to translate that, I suppose, into a business context. So from the intensity of a blazing fire, we now move to a setting that many of us know well, the bustling environment of small business. The stakes may be different, but the need for crystal clear communication remains paramount. Whether you're managing a team of 5 or 50 or juggling multiple roles from sales to operations, ensuring everyone's on the same page is crucial. How do you, as a business leader, convey your thoughts and messages amidst the daily challenges and tight deadlines? Let's dig into some techniques to articulate your goals and strategies with precision based on some of the stuff I've talked about from firefighting. In this segment, I'm going to explore how to ensure that every team member, no matter what their role is, understands the bigger picture and feels empowered to contribute to your business's success. Let's have a look at some parallels between fireground communication and conveying your business vision to your team. Just like on a fire, everyone needs to know what the mission is. They need to understand what they're trying to achieve today, this week, this month. We also need to work in effective teams. Even small teams of 3 need a clear chain of command. You can't just leave 3 people to do a job without someone being responsible for having the job done. Otherwise, all 3 think someone else is in charge. That's just a fact. That's humans. We work better with someone in charge, even if they are all of an equal level. In firefighting, we talk about a span of control being 5. After that, communications get more difficult. So when you're trying to structure your teams in your business, make sure you don't get over 5 in each team without having 5 in those teams with 1 person in charge of that group. And then you have 5 groups with 1 person they report to, and so on up. And this is, a very powerful technique that we use in firefighting. And as I said, it's called span of control, so it's pretty straightforward. Before starting each day at work, it's absolutely worth having a 5-minute team catch-up. Now, whether you do that within the teams or you get all the teams together, that's up to you. Try a few different things. But that catch-up gives people time to say, oh, look, this is where we are up to, and they get to hear where everybody else is up to. So there's a little bit more communication over the whole project. If it's a series of projects, then you need to keep talking amongst each other and see where all those little projects are and how it's all coming together. Don't wait for someone to see that you need help. So if you're a member of one of those teams, you need to communicate that you need help. And that's where having the daily meetings really works for you. As the leader, look for people who seem to be struggling. Send them help if you can. You want to always get that chance. Again, span of control. If you're in charge of the business, you're not necessarily going to see what's happening right down on the coalface, as they say. But you need to put leaders in between you and them that can keep an eye on things, that can see what's going on. You need to understand that not everyone is a great communicator, but they can learn to be by encouraging them. The challenges business leaders face when communicating strategies during periods of change or uncertainty are quite complex. But when things change rapidly, comms are often the first to fail, especially on a fire. You need to stop regularly, talk, plan, and then go again. Even a short email, SMS, or voice message of encouragement makes a big difference during times of change. Okay? Feedback from the team doesn't have to be in depth. It can be a quick message to let you know everything's going well, or we're falling behind, or we haven't got this information we need. Again, we need to try harder to communicate during change than we normally would, even though that's the time when we're under the most pressure. Now, there's a range of tools and techniques that you can employ, similar to what firefighters use, to ensure clear, actionable communication in a business setting. The SMEAC that I brought up earlier is a fantastic tool and can be used in any environment. Okay, do a situation, mission, execution, admin, comms, safety for any new client or major job. It gives everybody a document that they can look at and see clearly what's trying to be achieved. And it really doesn't take long to do it. It's only a couple of sentences in each box. Get the whole team together before you start into things. Don't just start into them and then kind of drop information on as they go. It doesn't work well. On a fire, we get together, then we go out and we attack the fire. Make sure you debrief after big jobs or big days. Discuss what worked, what didn't work, what we could do better, and what we should do again. Okay? It's important. Work out those good things, and let's not just dwell on the bad things. While it's negative, it's also important to discuss them. But we need to keep moving forward and making sure that any mistakes we're making get improved over time. It's not going to happen overnight. People take time to learn, and the only time they learn is when they're doing something, when they're experiencing it. You can't just learn from hearing about it. That just starts the journey. Make sure you don't cut people out of the feedback loop. Okay, this is really important. But use the chain of command to make sure their feedback moves up, and make sure that your people in charge, your crew leaders, your sector commanders, whatever you want to call them, are feeding that information back. That is super, super important. If your people aren't feeding up information to you, check with the lowest people. And when I say lowest, I'm just talking about structure here. I'm not talking about their position, to see if information is being filtered off. Because if you get a manager in the middle who's filtering information so they don't look bad, it's actually going to affect the whole team. You can't have that. Everybody has to work together. Get your people working together for each other. That's so important. If they feel like they're going to be punished for making an honest mistake, it will destroy your team. It's that simple. We all know we're going to stuff up. We all know we're going to make mistakes. But if we know we're going to get punished or made look bad, that's a very negative environment for growth. Okay. We already feel bad. We already know we're making mistakes. So dwelling on it or bringing it up in a way that actually really points the finger at someone is not a good thing. If you need to talk to someone, take them aside in private and talk to them privately so that they're not embarrassed in front of other people. People are fragile. You are fragile. Those that say they aren't are liars. Okay? Those people have actually got the weakest egos of all. They put up the biggest front, but in fact, they crack real easy. Just keep talking to each other. Okay? And if you can, make everyone feel important because they are. Without them, you will not achieve the goals you want. You need your whole team working well as a leader. Otherwise, you're just not going to get what you wanted to do. So what are some key takeaways from today and my lessons for leaders here? Every fire is different and ever-changing. Effective communication is crucial to adapt quickly. Using systems like LACES ensures everyone's safety on the fireground. Tools like SmearX offer a clear strategy so everyone knows the game plan. And using various tools from photos to chats keeps everybody informed in real time. What about in business? It's essential for everyone in the business to understand the shared goal and their role in it. A well-organized team ensures streamlined and clear communication. When business conditions shift or challenges arise, maintaining clear communication is super vital. And techniques from the fire world, especially SmearX, can enhance clarity and structure in business chats. In both the worlds of firefighting and small business, the power of clear communication can't be understated. It's the guiding force that drives teams, ensures safety, and achieves objectives. Remember, whether you're facing real flames or business challenges, the clarity of your message makes all the difference. So, as we extinguish the flames on this episode, it's evidence that the worlds of firefighting and big and business, though seemingly distinct, share a foundation principle: the undeniable importance of clear, effective communication. It's this communication that builds strong teams, navigates challenges, and drives success in any arena. I hope these insights spark new perspectives and strategies for your own leadership journey. Remember, agile leadership in rapidly changing environments, be it a blazing inferno or a dynamic business landscape, requires us to run towards the flames and face challenges head on. I'm excited to keep exploring these parallels and sharing more insights with you. So until next time, keep those lines of communication open and don't miss our next episode where we'll dive deeper into the world of leadership in the line of fire. As always, be an effective leader by running towards the flames.
Thank you for tuning in to Leadership in the Line of Fire. If today's episode sparked some insights, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your support fuels this journey. Join us next time as we continue to explore leadership lessons from the fire line. Until then, keep leading with courage and agility.